All right. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small. The high school mascot was a question mark. Seriously, just a big old question mark on the field. People were confused. Even the cheerleaders were like, what are we cheering for? Uncertainty. It reminds me of this time my buddy Earl, bless his heart, tried to impress this girl by saying he was film Wedding Ring or two before the first one even hit theaters. Like telling people you already got a platinum membership to Beyonce's Beehive plus a plus one with Lamar Odom. Back when he was still rocking princess cut she jeans, which by the way is a crime against fashion, worse than Floyd Mayweather and them damn cowboy boots. Somebody lock that man up. Stylist needs to be fired or 2 Chainz showing up to court in a suit. Some things are just inherently wrong, like my Aunt Brenda's attempt to get on a reality show called Straight from the Heart, pushing past me like a damn offensive lineman to get in front of the camera, saying hi from the heart while I'm trying to explain the earth is not flat. But somehow Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for too much skin is somehow supposed to be acceptable. That's like banishing Waffle House from World Star Hip Hop. Ruins the whole damn site, but honestly, I'd pay $1 million just to see her. Well, again, for the first time, but also knowing it's still Rihanna. So that brings me back to these co-stars I've been working with over the years. All of them except The Rock, that is, and The Rock hasn't helped one damn bit. Stevie, I'm looking at you. You ain't gonna help nobody except the inmates, Stevie. What is wrong with you? You look like you shop at the velvet sweatsuit store next door to Nacho Dick Emporium. And I swear to God they are all just as ridiculous as waiting 45 minutes for a sandwich from Quiznos. Just needs more dreamers. And definitely not Will Packer sitting beside me at award shows. Fifth black dude in a row. I think they have a row of just like all the black folks just chilling there. And Amy Schumer is just getting it thrown in her face, which I'm okay with. And then Whoopi Goldberg just goes on The View and says some wild-ish shit. I can't even I gotta shave again because of all the stupid that's going on, and then some guy is throwing me off while I'm about to rip on this stage in camouflage. He thinks his petite jacket is gonna save him. Maybe I don't have a college degree, but I got a yacht. Well, I will have a yacht. It's on credit. I'm just saying I thought I looked cooler in a suit, and now I feel like I look like a head in a box, so I look like a guy with a head, so I don't know. Maybe I should dress like my friend Earl. All right. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Used to have this chihuahua back home, okay? Little fella named Napoleon, thought he was a Rottweiler, I swear. Hated baths. Hated him worse than I hate lima beans, which is saying something because I think lima beans were invented by the devil himself. Anyways, reminded me of Kevin because remember when Kevin wasn't famous? Shoot. He'd show up smelling like a gym sock and a dreamsicle, At least twice a week he would shower back then. Now it's all cologne, like he's trying to fumigate a whole damn city block or something. Got that cloud around him like Pigpen from Peanuts. They call it something else back in Louisiana, but I ain't saying it. But you know what, though? All this money and fame hasn't really changed the dude much. Truth be told. Still the same old Kevin, same piece of work, always been a little rascal, like a squirrel hiding nuts in your couch cushions, ain't paying nobody on time. Like my Uncle Cletus after a weekend at the casino, always promising, never delivering. That's why they doing the intervention, need money. And people think I'm just laying around my pool all day, sipping sweet tea and getting a tan, like I'm living the life of Riley. But I'm grinding, man. I'm hustling. Got to go to radio stations, TV stations. Sometimes I got to get on the phone and cuss someone out. And it's costing me, man. I pay way too many people. I'm about to cut this whole damn thing off and build a bunker. But then, they reel you back in, tell you they need you. Like, Iramora needs a shark. So here's a question, though, and this is a real one. Who's the funniest out of this crew besides yours truly, of course? I'd say you're funny, man, because you seem smart, and smarter folks are funny in my book. It's about time someone give me a little credit. Praise the Lord, truth finally comes out. But him.
Yeah.
Dude's quiet. Got to watch out for the quiet ones. They're like a possum playing dead. You never know when they're going to strike. Nah, man, I'm the creepiest, always have been. Anyway, Comedy Central, Netflix, the deal. Gotta plug the stuff. Y'all been a good crowd, evened out the balance of my show, met my black people quota for the year. But remember Kevin and the other black guys? We bleed it. Anyway, you can see us on tour at Kevin Hart Nation. You. Joey, what's up, man? And hey, since we're at the end of this thing, I'm going to go walk up this staircase on my set that I've never walked up before. Hit that subscribe button for more of this nonsense, y'all. And remember, always check behind you. You never know what kind of craziness is lurking around the corner. It's probably a chihuahua named Napoleon or Kevin Hart or something equally terrifying. All right. So picture this. I was back home, right, in Louisiana, where the dirt roads outnumber the paved ones 2-1. Kind of like how my cousins outnumber teeth in their collective mouths. And I was hanging out with my buddy Earl. Now Earl, bless his heart, he's got the kind of dedication that'd make a honey badger jealous. Except instead of digging for grubs, Earl's dedicated to, well, Vaseline. Yeah, Vaseline. But not just for chapped lips during crawfish season, no sir. Earl used to store Vaseline in his navel. I'm talking a dedicated dollop of petroleum jelly tucked away in his belly button like it was Fort Knox. He said it kept his big lips, his actual physical lips, from looking like a bottomless pit. Which, let's be honest, they kind of did. Like a black hole swallowing all the lip balm in the state. And that reminds me of what Kevin Hart said about Shaq shaped like a beanbag, like a whole dang satin beanbag. But see, Earl's got this theory, this greasy little theory that Vaseline is the key to everything, the secret ingredient, the WD-40 of life. And that's when it hit me, you know, like a mosquito on a humid summer night. These basketball players are out here chasing career highs, talking about keys to success, blocks, assists, points, all that jazz. And Joel says the key is Earl's Vaseline navel. And you're just standing there with a blob of Vaseline, and this makes me thinking about what Kevin Hart said, how Wade lifts and buries, about Klay Thompson feeling pretty. I swear the way these athletes carry on, it's like a bunch of squirrels fighting over a single acorn. That's kind of like that time I tried to teach my grandma how to use the internet. She ended up ordering a life-size cardboard cutout of Burt Reynolds and started calling him her digital boyfriend. But you know, underneath all the sweat and Vaseline and post-game interviews about team, there's a real desire for something more, something real, something like what Ernest said won't go through. He'll flunk the physical, something beyond the game. Kind of like Earl's obsession with keeping his lips hydrated. It's a quest for something real in a world that's mostly just a whole lot of hot air and maybe, just maybe, a little too much Vaseline. Okay, so growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, we had this neighbor, bless his heart, named Cletus. Cletus thought he was pregnant one time. Swear to God. Said he had morning sickness and everything, probably just ate too many crawfish. You know how we do, which got me thinking about this whole lake situation people be getting themselves into. Like, you ever had fake sex? I mean, you might think you're tearing it up on your side of the bed, but sometimes it's just a phantom limb situation. Know what I'm saying? Reminds me of this dude I saw at the gas station. All bedazzled skull, looking like Jumanji threw up on him, and I'm thinking, what kind of thug invests in rhinestones? He probably spent more on those little-ass diamonds than my whole damn truck. And that's saying something, because my truck ain't pretty. It's like a rusty mullet on wheels. And speaking of things that ain't pretty, these fellas wearing suits look like they raided the Deacon's Closet, rocking those women's skinny jeans, thinking they're all that, but really they just look like a sausage trying to escape its casing. And I'm just saying, some people got too many teeth in their mouth, like a crocodile got hold of their chompers and just kept adding extras, you know. Which brings me to celebrities. Saw Lil Xan the other day, face tattoos and all, looking like a coloring book exploded. And I just want to yell at these kids, stop writing on your face. You ain't gonna get a job looking like a rejected Picasso painting. Then you got Shaq, bless his heart, 4-time MVP, Hall of Famer, but still hanging around Home Depot helping folks load lumber. Like he ain't got nothing better to do, which I guess he don't. Especially since he retired from the celebrity games. Think that man can't handle defeat when it's people like The Rock who done turned soft on us. His forehead looks like it's held on by Velcro nowadays. And then there's Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for showing too much skin. Which, let's be honest, I'd pay $1 million to see her naked again, because that lady is like a sunset over the Louisiana bayou. Pure magic. And these comedians like Kevin Hart bragging about all his houses like he's playing Monopoly with real money. Cabo, Miami, New York, Philly, Jersey. It's like, calm down, shorty. You gonna fall back and hit your soft spot. You know what they say about Hollywood, don't work with animals or kids, but I'd rather work with a monkey wearing a diaper than these comedians, acting like they are babies, constantly throwing tantrums. Probably got crayons smeared all over their designer suit. But you know what the real tragedy is? Them waking up in the morning, reading the dictionary every day, trying to seem smart when really, their lives are just like a bad crawfish boil. All the ingredients are there, but something just ain't right now, if you excuse me. I got a date with some boudin and a six-pack. Because that, my friends, is the real soliloquy of life. Thank you and good night. All right, so growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau. God rest his soul, smelled like catfish and regret. Always wore overalls, even to church. And he swore he could talk to squirrels, said they gave him stock tips, which explains why he was always broke. Now, old Thibodeau, he lived life like he was 56, even when he was 26, just kind of aimless, you know? And that's how I feel sometimes in this whole entertainment thing. Like, I'm just stumbling around in the dark, bumping into things, hoping I don't knock over a lamp because then they yell at you, you know? My schedule, man. If I saw my schedule written down, I'd have a panic attack. It's just get in the car, get out of the car, do what they say, get back in the car, go home. Feels like I'm a performing seal at SeaWorld. But instead of fish, they give me lukewarm bottled water. I did find a little patch of dirt that felt like my own, where I could tell my stories, talk about possums and gas station sushi. But even there, it's like you're not supposed to take yourself seriously. Gotta be self-deprecating, which I love. I'm a champion self-deprecator. Could win a gold medal in that event, but now I'm doing these other shows and they write all the lines for you, and every line is basically, Theo, you're a big dumb hillbilly, and let's smoke a doobie. And I'm thinking, man, I'm more than just a walking stereotype. I once saw a squirrel outsmart a Roomba, for Christ's sake, but then my manager calls, says they got a part for you on Entourage. 3 episodes, gonna be huge. And I'm thinking, Entourage, I'm gonna be hanging out with movie stars. Maybe I'll learn how to parallel park in Hollywood. So I go and read for Sheila Jaffe. Sheila, bless her heart, probably doesn't know the difference between a bayou and a bouillabaisse. And I crush it, I'm telling you. I channel my inner Cajun. I'm spitting fire. I get a call back. I'm pumped. Telling Dave, my manager, I got this. I'm gonna Malibu. I'm getting a surfboard. Then I walk into the room for the callback and Bow Wow is there. Bow Wow, little Bow Wow, looking like he just rolled out of a Cypress Hill video. Big jersey, do-rag. I'm thinking, what in the name of crawfish etouffee is Bow Wow doing here? Needed someone who looked like they knew how to hotwire a golf cart, which, I mean, fair enough, but I'm in a regular t-shirt looking like I'm about to file my taxes, and the part is supposed to be loud, cocky like a rooster in a hen house. I kill the audition, by the way. I leave feeling like I just won the Super Bowl of slightly above average acting, but then I'm walking out about 3 steps out the door, and Bow Wow walks in, and I hear clear as a bell, what the f is going on in there? Is he reading? And then the whole room erupts in laughter, dying apparently. He was reading with Kevin Dillon, with drama, and I don't get the part, and I'm sitting at home watching Entourage, watching Bow Wow doing the scene, and I realize I lost a part to Bow Wow. I lost a part to a guy whose biggest hit was Bounce With Me. Don't get me wrong, banger, but still, I got beat out by a kid who used to rhyme about puppy love. Now I have 12 people on my immediate team, which is basically the number of pallbearers. You'd need to carry my ego if it died of embarrassment after losing that role. And sometimes I feel like Miss Thibodeau's talking squirrels are giving me better career advice than these people. They at least have the excuse of only speaking in squeaks and burying nuts.
Man, I tell you what, growing up in Louisiana, we didn't have no fancy security systems. Just mall with her shotgun and a healthy suspicion of anyone wearing shoes that cost more than her dentures, you know? But seriously, I ain't too keen on folks visiting anymore, not since that whole incident. Yeah, the robbery, it kind of messed with my brain, made me feel like a possum cornered in a Walmart parking lot at midnight, all hisses and twitches. See, now you gotta understand, it's a man's primal duty to protect his homestead like a squirrel guarding his nuts. Except these nuts are made of brick and mortar and filled with Netflix subscriptions and questionable life choices. So I went full prepper, bought 9 guns, hid them like Easter eggs on steroids, and that's when the crazy train pulled into the station. Spent 3 hours alone, acting out these elaborate scenarios like a one-man community theater production gone off the rails. Oh, you think you're gonna rob me at the front door? Well, let me just check the mail one last time. Bam. Duncan apartment takes you down. Or imagine this, you're sneaking up on me in the guest bathroom. Think you're getting away with my toothbrush. Not before I wipe with this. Bam. Second Amendment strikes again. Picture this, if you will. Thanksgiving, I'm basting the turkey and suddenly you burst in. Hold on just a cotton pickin' minute, let me check that oven. Bam. Gravy boat justice. Even got one stashed near the couch. 'Cause you know a man's gotta unwind. Just let me log off Pornhub. Bam. Now you're logged off for life. And the pièce de résistance, the laundry room. I'm folding my tighty whities, and you think you can catch me with my pants down. Hold on, just gotta add some fabric softener. Bam. Freshness guaranteed for the afterlife. I mean, it's ridiculous, like arming a chihuahua with a rocket launcher. But hey, a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do to feel safe, even if it means talking to himself like a crazy person and turning his house into a booby-trapped episode of Home Alone, written by Quentin Tarantino. And you know what the worst part is? I haven't even started thinking about the squirrels in the attic yet.
You know, growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, getting your feet done wasn't really a thing unless Mama got a hold of your calluses with a Brillo pad. That was she time back then. A little self-care, like wrestling a gator in a mud bath. But now it's all seaweed, wraps, and cucumber eyes, which reminds me of this one time I saw a catfish wearing sunglasses. True story, down by the Bogue Chido. Anyway, Mark over here, he's more of a golf kind of guy, swings clubs instead of soaking in lavender. Says he clips his own toenails, probably with a rusty pair of pliers, but hey, at least he's not training stray snakes like I do. Yeah, you heard me right. I find these lost little serpents in the hills. Give 'em names like Darlene and Earl. Teach 'em how to play poker. It's a whole thing. My therapist thinks it's a metaphor for something. Probably loneliness, but whatever. Mark and I, we had this bromance brewing out in desert, hotter than a $2 pistol, filming this movie, Me Time, which is ironic because half the time I was just trying not to sweat through my wardrobe. Regina and I didn't get enough screen time together. She's like a fine wine, only funnier. And having Kevin on set was like trying to herd cats, blindfolded during a hurricane, but the real stars were Huck's friends. Those dudes were wilder than a pack of feral hogs at a Tupperware party. So yeah, take some me time, folks. Even if it means wrestling a reptile or befriending a pit viper. Just go watch Me Time on Netflix. And remember, life's too short to wear boring socks unless you're a snake. Then socks are probably optional. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Reminds me of the time me and my cousin Skeeter tried to smuggle a pet raccoon named Richard onto a Beohound bus heading to Biloxi. Don't ask Skeeter how to feeling. Richard needed see the Gulf Coast. Said it was in his blood, like a damn pirate or something. And Skeeter, bless his heart, he comes up with this plan, right? He says, Theo will put Richard in a pillowcase, act like he's a sleeping baby, and if they ask questions, we just say he's colicky. Colicky, like anyone's gonna believe that. So we get to the bus station, Skeeter's humming some Merle Haggard. Richard's squirming like a politician in church, and this lady, she's got a perm bigger than my Aunt Carol's Sunday hat. She's eyeing us up and down like we're a couple of escaped convicts. And that's when it hit me. This reminds me of that one time, flying into Mexico, right? Plane lands looked like the freaking Narcos intro, more cops than a donut convention, and they got these dogs sniffing like they're looking for buried treasure. Only the treasure's probably something way worse. I see a little Mexican fella comes onto the plane, starts jabbering away in Spanish. Now, I only know a smattering of Spanish, like cerveza and donde está el baño, you know, the essentials, but I can catch the rhythm, the vibe, so he's going off. Donde está el dinero? Like he's looking right into my soul. Then he looks at me and he says with the intensity of a badger cornered in a well, KK, and I panic, total white trash panic, like when the Walmart's out of Mountain Dew. I just blurt out, queso, cheese. I thought about nacho cheese, like that's gonna help. He gives me this look like I just insulted his mama's tamales. Goes into this rapid-fire Spanish, sounds like a broken record scratch in a mariachi tune. Then they herd us off the plane, one by one to this security booth, and you gotta press this button, red light or green light. And let me tell you, if you get a red light, your vacation's canceled. Your life is over. You might as well just start learning Spanish in prison because it's about to be your new home. That's when it hit me. I was first up, stomach bubbling, palms sweat, about to press that button. Almost screamed out that they had drugs. Honest to God, thought my colon was gonna stage a revolt, man. I was nervous like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Well, I was down at the Piggly Wiggly the other day, right? And this lady's got like 18 cats in her cart just chilling like they own the place. One of them wearing a tiny hat reminded me of my Uncle Billy, always rocking a fedora he found in a dumpster. Anyway, that got me thinking, you know, about objectivity, like how some folks can look at 18 cats in a grocery cart and see a problem, a health hazard, maybe even the apocalypse, but others, like Uncle Billy, bless his heart, just see opportunity, a hat, a new friend, a purpose. And that's kind of like Kenny over here in them Clippers. He takes 45 seconds, a whole dang eternity to say something simple like asking me about him Clippers. Like asking if I believe in Bigfoot after I've already shown you the blurry photograph and the plaster cast of the footprint. He assumes things like the Clippers are good, just assumes it, and that's his problem. He's missing the context, the nuance, the 18 cats wearing hats in the cart of life. See, being objective ain't just seeing the truth, it's understanding when to apply it. And sometimes you got to go down that road, that long, twisty, cat-filled road to get to the real answer. The one nobody wants to admit. The one where the Steelers ain't making no play. And the honest-to-goodness truth is, after all that, after the hats and the cats and Uncle Billy's dumpster dive, the answer is just no, we just can't. Plain and simple as a possum in a pear tree. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this fellow, Billy Bob, used to train squirrels to water ski. I ain't kidding. Tiny little skis. Boat pulled by a remote control car. The whole shebang looked like a damn circus. But that's kind of how this whole comedy thing started for me. See, because during that whole mess with the Rona, clubs shut down tighter than a tick on a hound dog. And I'm thinking, Theo, you got to get your yaps heard somehow. So I threw out this bat crap crazy idea on Instagram like, hey, if you got a roof, a mic, and ain't afraid of some good old boy climbing up there, looking like a raccoon in a dumpster, I'll bring the funny. And people went wild. I'm talking roof after roof, ladder after ladder, feeling like a dang mountain climber with a microphone, risking life and limb for a laugh. You know, dodging the cops and getting yelled at by New Yorkers, screaming from their windows like I'm playing a banjo at 3 a.m. It was pure chaos, pure art, I tell you. 'Cause ain't that what art is? Taking something busted and making it beautiful, even if it pisses off the neighbors. It's like, back in the day, the dream was all about getting on Letterman or some goofy sitcom. But now, hell, I'm talking to Letterman right here. Feels like I've already made it to the moon. 5 years from now. Shoot, I'll probably be slinging jokes to a pigeon on a park bench talking about how the world went crazy and all I got was this darn microphone. In a story about a squirrel that could shred some serious water. It's the American dream, ain't it? Or maybe I'll just be trying to sell Billy Bob's water skiing squirrels on OnlyFans. You never know with this life. It's like a box of chocolates. If that box was full of snakes and fireworks, and the chocolates were actually just little tiny squirrels wearing water skis. All right. Listen up, y'all. Let me tell you something. Back in Louisiana, we had this rooster. See, this isn't your average farmyard fellow. This rooster, we called him Elvis because he had this ridiculous comb, looked like a pompadour straight out of Graceland, squawked like he was gargling gravel and moonshine. Anyway, Elvis, he hated Mondays, hated him. Would just sit on the porch looking all mournful, wouldn't crow, wouldn't chase hens, just mopping.
Now, that's kind of how I feel about birthdays, you know?
People treat me like I'm supposed to be dancing a jig, celebrating another year closer to being worm food, but inside I'm just Elvis on a Monday morning, wondering where the hell all the good grits went. Now look at this shirt my buddy here is wearing. This thing's tighter than a banjo string on a humid day. Shows off more collarbone than a skeleton in a yoga class, and he calls it fashion. This is the kind of thing that makes you question everything. Like, are we living in the Matrix? Did the robots win and this is their idea of a hilarious joke? Because if this is what adulthood looks like, I'm moving back in with my mama and adopting 20 cats. He looks like a ballet teacher who smokes Pall Malls, yelling at children. It's like at what point do we as a society say enough is enough to these fashion abominations? I'm starting to think we need a fashion police, you know? Like the kind that raid your closet at 3 a.m., confiscate all the stretchy shirts, and replace them with flannel, a good pair of work boots, and maybe a subscription to Duck Dynasty, just to keep things grounded. And the back cleavage. What is this world coming to when a dude's back has more cleavage than my ex-girlfriend after a bad breakup? I'm talking serious back cleavage, people. You know what this shirt is screaming? Identity crisis? This ain't about gender identity, people. This is about identifying what fits properly and what looks like you're trying to escape a straitjacket. It's like he's trying to be a brown swan at a ballet class. Look, folks, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure things out. Whether it's Rooster Mondays, back titties, or the existential dread of another birthday, the important thing is to find something to laugh about, even if it's something as utterly ridiculous as this damn shirt. Now, if you excuse me, I think I'm gonna go find that rooster and share a beer. Maybe we can figure out this whole mess together, but first I think I'll subscribe to Zillow Plus just in case. Man, I'll tell you what, growing up back home, we had this fella, Cletus, who claimed he could smell rain coming a week out. just by sniffing his hot dog's butt. True story. Anyways, it reminds me of these ladies here, right? All these folks got to be somewhere like Jews, thanks single. Nah, double-barreled married. Husbands didn't want to come, huh? Don't matter. I ain't chasing skirts in the bright light. No, sir. So wife number one's with a banker. Wife number two's got a fancy anesthesiologist. She's a gynecologist herself. Talk about a power couple. They ain't working together, are they? I mean, how many you think they seen, right? Enough to pickle your brain. Makes me think could never be a gynecologist, man. Too much of a good thing, you know? Like eating too much pecan pie. You see one in public and you ain't impressed. You just feel bad for the pie. The other one sells real estate. That's life. Ain't it? Sometimes you get the chicken. Sometimes the chicken gets you. She was trying to steer me right, though. Bless her heart. Like that time Mama tried to teach me to churn butter. Disaster. Got to watch out for those Walmart gynecologists, though, tucked in next to the Vision Center, sticking their arms where they don't belong. Speaking of arms, this fella's got his in a sling, rotator cuff, messing with his art, too. Turns out he's a painter, calls it kind of abstract, which, let's be honest, is code for looks like my cat threw up on a canvas, but hey, at least he ain't sniffing hound dog butts for a living. Listen, I was back home in Louisiana last week, right, visiting my aunt Mildred. Bless her heart. She still thinks the internet's a series of tubes, like plumbing for cat videos. And she's showing me her prize-winning petunias. These things are huge, like bigger than my head, look like Trump's hair after a hurricane. And she's going on about fertilizer and soil pH. And I'm thinking, Mildred, you're basically a scientist disguised as a sweet old lady who makes the world's strongest sweet tea, which, by the way, is how I imagine those oil and gas folks down in Texas feel. All science-y with their fracking and rigs, but secretly they're just trying to keep the lights on so Shirley here can manage her doctor's office. See, that's the connection. Mildred's petunias to global energy, a slippery slope. I tell ya, like trying to walk on greased catfish, because Shirley managing that office, that's real work. That's keeping the human engine running, all the appointments and insurance forms. It's like being a zookeeper for hypochondriacs. Meanwhile, her man Shirley's been together since high school, right? That's a long time, like longer than some sitcoms last. They probably remember dial-up internet, so they probably met across a bar with him drinking Shirley Temple with maraschino cherry in his hand. Like a damn lighthouse beacon. He's thinking like a longshoreman and Shilling Temple, all in one guy, and you can tell they're happy. They've been together so long, they've seen each other's bad haircut phases. Know each other's coffee orders without ask, probably communicate telepathically through glances and raised eyebrows. But here's the kicker. After all that time, all those years, and she's still like, I manage the doctor's office in a tone that screams, I'm a badass. You know, like a ninja account, and you just gotta respect that kind of dedication, right? The kind that says, I'm gonna keep this whole operation afloat, even if it means dealing with Karen who thinks she has a rare disease she read about on WebMD. That's the unsung heroism right there, managing a doctor's office. It's like wrangling cats on a unicycle while juggling flaming torches. All right. Settle down, y'all. Settle down. TheoVon in the house. How we feeling? You know, growing up in Louisiana, we didn't have comedy clubs. We had funerals. Seriously, best stand-up you'll ever see. Especially when it's your drunk uncle trying to eulogize somebody he barely knew. But hey, at least they're telling jokes, right? It reminds me of this one time we had this fella, Cletus, rest his soul, used to raise pigeons. Not like fancy pigeons, mind you. These were like Walmart pigeons. Anyway, Cletus swore they were smarter than people said they could navigate better than a GPS. He even tried to time him to deliver beer. Didn't work out so well. Ended up with a bunch of drunk pigeons flying into power lines. That was higher. But Cletus, bless his heart, he was convinced he was onto something. Kind of like these folks trying to figure out what the heck's going on with comedy these, you know? Everybody's walking on eggshells, scared to offend somebody. It's like trying to herd cats, or worse, try and teach a possum how to play the banjo. And that's what reminded me of Jeff Ross hosting a roast, so many jokes were made about his cancer or being fat, but they were funny. Like, you could tell some of them were written to be purposely hurtful, just like when Luigi got caught with a gun in McDonald's. It was bad, but the punchline just hits right. He might as well have been in the next Diddy scandal, which is another can of worms altogether. But hey, what are the rest of us supposed to do when we get curveballs like Aaron Rodgers, Taylor Swift, and Stephen Hawking all being talked about at the same time? Well, folks, it's like trying to make a gumbo with nothing but roadkill and rusty nails. You gotta throw in something that sticks, something that's real. And sometimes that realness is just recognizing that we're all just a bunch of Cletuses chasing pigeons and trying to make sense of this crazy world. Even if it means a few drunk birds flying into the occasional power line, or maybe even becoming Secretary of Agriculture. I don't know, I'm just saying. All right. All right, let me tell y'all something. It reminds me of when I was a kid back in Louisiana, right? We had this neighbor, Earl, looked like a busted can, Ken Biscuits, always wore overalls, even to church. Thought he knew everything about everything, even though he couldn't tell a chicken from a turkey if his life depended on it. But he'd always be telling you, I'm right, you're wrong. End of story. Like he downloaded the internet straight into his brain with a dial-up modem. Made me think about folks who act like they got all the answer, you know? Reminds me of this trip I'm on. Met this fella, name's Mark. Seemed all right at first. But then he kept doing this weird thing with the microphone. I ain't gonna spell it out for you, but it felt like Earl trying to explain quantum physics. Out of place, insulting even. It felt like trying to teach a possum how to waltz, but then I started connecting with this other fella, didn't know him before, thought we were gonna be like two dogs fighting over the same bone, but turns out we actually got along. Started on a bad foot, sure like kicking a mule in the shin, but then we started chatting online. Made up before the trip even started, which is kind of like apologizing to a ghost. Real weird, but effective. Saved us from being stuck in a conversation. Worse than explaining the rules of cricket to a squirrel. Then I see Shane rocking sunglasses indoor, looking like he's trying to hide from the sun in the middle of the night. Makes me wonder what kind of drama's brewing. But hey, maybe he's just got a bad case of the Louisiana blues. You know, makes you want to wear shades even when the sun ain't shining. All right, so boom, let me tell you something. I was down in Nolens, right, where the air smells like Viennese and regret. And my cousin Earl, bless his heart, he's got this chihuahua named Napoleon, right? Little ankle biter, thinks he's General Pat, always humping furniture and yapping at the mailman like he's invading Poland. Anyway, Earl's trying to get him fixed, but the vet says Napoleon's got small dog syndrome, which I swear is just a fancy way of saying he's a tiny asshole, but it got me think this whole small dog syndrome thing. It's kind of like how we treat ourselves sometimes, you know? Like we got this little Napoleon inside us, always yapping about our insecurities, our doubts, humping on our dreams, telling us we ain't good enough, that we got to overcompensate, we got to be louder, funnier, prettier, richer, whatever, just to feel worthy, and sometimes we buy into it. We start wearing these metaphorical tiny dog sweaters, trying to impress people we don't even like, chasing after bones that ain't even got any meat on them. Meanwhile, the real you, the big old St. Bernard chilling in your heart, is just waiting for a freaking walk. Waiting for you to shut up that chihuahua in your head and just be you. Like you ever notice how squirrels just straight up run into traffic? They ain't worried about nothing, just nuts and chaos. That's the kind of confidence we need. Like, yeah, you might get squashed by a bus every now and then, but at least you died doing what you love, chasing those dang nuts. So next time you feeling like a chihuahua, remember Earl, remember Napoleon, remember that somewhere out there there's a St. Bernard dying to break free, and maybe, just maybe, the only thing holding him back is a tiny yapping voice telling him he ain't good enough. And hell, if a chihuahua can trick a whole family into thinking he's important, imagine what a St. Bernard could do, especially if he learned how to play the freaking banjo, because, you know, that's what America's really missing right now. Banjo playing St. Bernards and less yapping at the postman. Amen. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you about this thing, right? Used to live down by the bayou. Nothing but cypress trees and mosquitoes, big as Volkswagens. Had this buddy, Earl. Earl had a pet raccoon named Reginald. Now, Reginald was something else, wore a tiny little top hat, tried to steal my dentures once. So Earl, bless his heart, he believed in, like, radical honesty, told everyone everything. One time went to a funeral with Earl. You know, somber occasion, everyone's wearing black, whispering. Earl walks right up to the widow, pats her on the shoulder, and goes, you know, Mildred, I always thought Bob had a lazy eye. Right then and there, straight honesty, like a freight train of truth coming at you. Reminds me of this whole honesty thing in relationships, right? Like, these fellas complain about their girlfriends being moody during their time of the month. I mean, come on, fellas. Think about it. That's basically like winning the lottery of not having a screaming, diaper-wearing miniature version of yourself running around. It's a damn good trade-off, like trading the leaky pirogue for a brand new bass boat. I'm all for the period. Bring on the menstruations celebration. That's what I say. It gives you that feeling right after you pay rent. Like, everything's going to be all right, at least for a little while. And speaking of celebrations, or maybe not, I got this pet peeve, right? People throwing around, I don't fuck around, like it's confetti at a parade. And my buddy went to the store, came back with wheat thins, and announced he don't fuck around. Wheat thins? That's like saying a Chihuahua is a guard dog. It just don't fit the bill.
I don't fuck around.
It should be reserved for like a gator wrestler in a tutu, not someone picking out crackers. We need to lighten up, folks. Start fucking around more, loosen our belts. Maybe then we wouldn't be so damn tense all the time. Which reminds me, I live in this interesting neighborhood. It's supposed to be a Jewish neighborhood, but there's a surprising amount of dudes with swastika tattoos. Guess that their GPS signal or something. Now, I ain't Jewish myself, though. Folks mistake me for it all the time. Probably because I got that, question authority kind of look. I'm not religious, not really, but I find it fascinating, like how rock and roll used to be the devil's music. Now we got Christian rock. What in the sweet tarnation happened there? It's like the church discovered distortion pedals or something. See, it's all connected like alligators in a swamp. Everything is just tangled together. I'll tell you what, though, reminds me of this time. Heck with it. You've all been kind. Man, that reminds me of my Aunt Shirley. Bless her heart. She swore she saw Bigfoot riding a lawnmower down by the bayou, said he was wearing overalls and a tiny little hat, said just a mowing away. But, Shirley, she also thought the government was controlling the weather with hairspray. Bless her heart. And that's kind of like how I feel about some comedians these days. They're telling these jokes, building these sets, and you can just smell the fake, like a Walmart Christmas tree dipped in syrup. It's just sticky and wrong, and you realize there ain't no real story there. Just a bunch of shiny ornaments trying to distract you from the fact that it's all just plastic, like that senator. Remember him? Oh, Lord, what was his name? The one who looked like a thumb with a toupee. Yeah, that guy, he was all holier than thou until someone dug up his old MySpace page. Turns out he was quoting Dice Clay in the comments. Specifically the bit about, the one about the woman who gets so busy she just becomes one big anatomical situation. That's like finding out your grandma's a juggalo. You just got to sit down and reevaluate everything you thought you knew. And it's like Ari, man, I love Ari, but he's been doing open mics since I was knee-high to grasshopper, and he's still telling the same jokes about his colonoscopy. Bless his heart. It's like watching a squirrel trying to bury a nut in concrete. You admire the effort, but it ain't going nowhere. The man's practically a fossil. They got to carbon date him. And he's up there on stage like a confused little scientist, poking and prodding at the microphone, trying to figure out why nobody's laughing. And Carlin, that's what I'm talking about. That dude knew what he was doing. He had the 7 words or 8, whatever, the ones that made the squares clutch their pearls. He was like a comedian Moses, bringing the forbidden tablets down from the mountain. And now everyone's so afraid of saying the wrong thing. They're all walking on eggshells. But me, I'm willing to throw caution to the wind, cancel all my other gigs, and just sit down with you knuckleheads and talk about Bigfoot, colonoscopy, and the time my Aunt Shirley tried to sell me a jar of pickled okra that she claimed was a love potion. I'm telling you folks, life's too short to be politically correct. Sometimes you just gotta embrace the weird, like that time I saw a dog wearing a tiny cowboy hat riding a Roomba through a parking lot. That's the kind of beautiful chaos that makes this world worth living in, even if Aunt Shirley thinks it's the government's fault.
All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. I was down at the Cracker Barrel the other day, right? Waitress comes up, sweetest thing, bless her heart, and asks me if I want the chicken fried steak. Now, y'all know I love a good chicken fried steak, but I'm trying to watch my figure, like putting lipstick on a pig, but still.
So I say, nah, darling, I'll just have a side of grits. She looks at me like I just asked her to speak Elvish. See, that's kind of like comedy, ain't it? You think you know what you want, but sometimes the unexpected is what gets you.
Which brings me to this fella, Mark Norman, right? Folks be saying he's got a theme to his comedy. Now, when I think of a theme, I think of a county fair, with the piglets and the prize-winning zucchini. But they ain't talking about no livestock. They mean, like, what makes this comedian tick? What makes him Mark Norman-y? Sure, you got your attitude, your stage presence. He's kind of like a scarecrow come to life, that fella. But what I want to talk about is this analogy thing. It's like he's got this knack for taking two things that ain't got no business being together, like a possum in a wedding dress, and making them make. He'll compare racism to Nickelback, saying it's fun to joke about, but you never want to see it live. It's like finding a tick on your eyeball. You laugh, but you freak out a little bit. Like, what in tarnation? And like, he's good at it, y'all. Real good. He's like the Bob Ross of analogies, painting you a picture with words that you never knew you needed. He was comparing a table to his girlfriend. It's expensive, got legs, sometimes stiff. It's like building a house of cards. You need the right foundation. He did it to get you thinking. Now, this ain't the only trick he's got up his sleeve, mind you. He ain't no one-trick pony, bless his heart. He's more like a whole darn circus with clowns and elephants and ladies riding bareback on horses. It's a whole shebang. Sometimes he'll set up a scene, kind of like turning an analogy into a play, and then it ain't analogies anymore. They call it mapping. It's like watching a coyote try to figure out a GPS. You got no idea where it's going, but you're darn sure something funny's going to happen. Like marriage, it's like anal. They both knew it was coming. I said this once, and my wife just smacked me over the head. He talks about the politically incorrect speakeasy where you can go in and say whatever you want, where retarded is the password. It's like back in the 90s. So offensive words are like alcohol. If you do it responsibly, don't go to work all day and insult people. Go home, close the door, take the edge off. I thought that was hilarious. And I wish I could tell jokes like that. But then again, you know, I'm not as cool as Mark Norman. But don't you go thinking these jokes just pop out of his head like popcorn, y'all? He works at him. He sweats at him. He probably loses sleep over him. They took forever, by the way. Like polishing a turd. You got to work at it to make it shine. And then if you see something that will hit you as funny, you have to tinker with it until it works. It ain't easy being funny, folks. So the next time you see a comedian, give him a little credit, will you? They're trying to make you laugh, even if they end up sounding like a rooster gargling gravel. And as for Mark Norman, well, he's got the analogy thing down pat, like a chicken on a June bug. He's on it, which reminds me, I got to go find that waitress and tell her to put some cheese on them grits. It's what Mark Norman would have wanted. All right. So I was down at Bubba's Bait and Tackle in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? And Bubba's got this chihuahua named Napoleon. Little lid, thinks he's Scarface, always humping my boot. And it got me thinking, this whole AI thing, it's kind of like Napoleon. Got all this potential, thinks he's going to run the world, but really he's just, you know, inappropriately affectionate with my footwear. And that reminds me of this article I read about rewriting text in different styles, like making it a TheoVon stand-up bit, which is already kind of like Napoleon humping a boot, nonsensical, but somehow endearing. And they wanted me to keep the original logic and facts, but make it funny and stream of consciousness. So it's like, okay, you want me to take something that's already kind of weird and make it weirder, like deep frying mayonnaise at the state fair, but I got to keep the same ingredients. So it's still mayonnaise, just crispy. And that's kind of like the challenge of understanding complex information and then dumbing it down for the masses, like teaching a squirrel algebra or explaining cryptocurrency to my grandma. She thinks Bitcoin is something you mine in a coal mine, but the core message of the logic that has to stay true, like how a possum always plays dead when it's scared, even if it's in the middle of the interstate, and the tone has to be right. That awkward, did he really just say that energy? Like when you see a dude wearing Crocs with socks, you're like, bless his heart, but you also secretly admire his commitment to comfort, and it all has to be one continuous thought. No paragraph breaks, like a Louisiana summer day, just hot and humid and never ending. And then bam. You hit him with a punchline that's both ridiculous and insightful, like realizing that the reason fireflies light up is probably just to attract a mate. And it's really just one big glowing insect dating app, and it all kind of ties back to that Chihuahua Napoleon. Still humping my boot, a tiny tyrant with big dreams, and maybe, just maybe, that's what we all are, just tiny Napoleons humping the boot of existence, hoping someone somewhere will throw us a bone. Or maybe just some flea medication, you know? All right. Get around, you beautiful swamp creatures. TheoVon here. Love and unleashed. You know, growing up in Louisiana, we didn't have much, but we had mosquitoes the size of hummingbirds and a grandma who could skin a squirrel faster than you can say. Bless your heart. Speaking of squirrels, reminds me of this one time Papa, God rest his soul, probably arguing with St. Peter about the best way to fry catfish. Papa swore he saw a squirrel wearing a tiny hat like a goddamn Beatrix Potter character gone wild. He tried to catch it, spent 3 days chasing that little varmint through the bayou, ended up knee-deep in mud, covered in mosquito bites, and mumbling about squirrel society. It was a whole thing, a real existential crisis for Papa. But, you know, now that I think about it, that squirrel's kind of like the economy these days. You're chasing it, never going to catch it, and end up knee-deep in something you don't want to be in. And you know what else is like chasing a squirrel wearing a tiny hat? Trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the world right now. Like this whole AI thing, folks are building robots that can write poems, play chess, and probably do your taxes better than your accountant. But can they skin a squirrel? Can they tell the difference between a coon ass and a Cajun? Can they understand the soul-crushing weight of a Saints loss on a Sunday afternoon?
I reckon not, and that's why I say we gotta hold on to the things that make us human, the things that make us weird, the things that make us pawpaw chasing a hat-wearing squirrel levels of strange, because if we don't, we're all gonna end up just like those damn robots spouting out information but lacking any real heart, any real soul, any real connection to the mud and the mosquitoes and the crazy-ass squirrels of this world, and that's about as sad as crawfish with no spice, just bland and utterly disappointing, alright? Alright, Bridgeport, bunch of pale faces showed up. Bless your hearts, reminds me of that time Mama tried to make biscuits but used flour from 82. Tasted like drywall and regret. But hey, at least they were white, whiter than that dude's teeth over there. Probably brushes with bleach. Look at this crew, though. Seems like somebody mixed meth with a therapy session, got folks twitching like squirrels in a microwave. You know, reminds me of my cousin Skeeter after he tried to deep fry a raccoon. Pure chaos. Speaking of chaos, this one's got a vibe like a chihuahua wearing a prom dress. Just waiting to bite ankles, then this fella's yelling about something. I can't make out, like he's speaking fluent gibberish. Sounds like what my dog whispers when he's chasing his tail. Bless her heart, I feel like I'm in Tyler Perry's Nightmare. Something went down. The air feels thicker than Aunt Shirley's gravy. And people keep showing me their hands, my friends telling me stuff while on the phone. What is going on? Who in here sells fingers? And I'm up here sweating like a sinner in church, just trying to connect these swastikas. And then I gotta ask, who here just escaped from rehab? A serial killer. Coos? It's like trying to herd cats with a kazoo. But hey, we're all red on the inside, right? Just some folks are a little more ketchup than others. But honestly, I think they should put a for sale sign on this venue before more things go wrong. But you know, you guys are great. I hope you take me on the hallway.
So I was back in my hometown, Loranger. Right? Place smaller than my dog's attention span, and my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's got this pet raccoon. Okay? Reigned princess. Now, Princess, she's got this thing for shiny objects like my grandma and bingo night. Dale swore Princess was part human, probably had a cousin who was a possum whisperer or something. Anyway, Dale was trying to teach Princess how to fetch using my ex-girlfriend's engagement ring. Long story, don't ask. And Princess, she just buries it in the yard looking at Dale like, you idiot, I'm a raccoon, not a golden retriever with daddy issues. That's kind of like me at that comedy show in Brooklyn, you know? I thought, Theo, you're going to be real, no pandering, just pure Southern charm. Went up there thinking I was Matthew McConaughey at a poetry slam, telling jokes about, I don't know, gluten-free grits and the existential dread of a rooster bombed harder than a screen door in a hurricane. They were looking at me like Princess looking at Dale in that ring, you know? Just pure unadulterated confusion. I then realized you got to play the game, be a little touched, like someone who thinks Pokemon are real. Like how some dudes on dating apps say, I love anime, it's everywhere these days.
What's that about?
It's like finding a crawfish in a Wendy's dumpster, unexpected but some potato fascinating. Me, I ain't never dated a black lady, but I've encountered a few. If you catch my drift, felt like wrestling a bear and riding a roller coaster at the same time. Exhilarating and terrifying. But honestly, what do people talk about? Like, do they even know about Bill Cosby? Now I'm hearing that the key to being cool is loving anime, being a slightly autistic white dude. I can see it now. Autistic white dudes and black ladies should unite. It's like a weird, beautiful gumbo. The thing is, I look like the kind of fella a drunk white dude might think is safe to use the N-word around. Like, I'm holding a Confederate flag and sipping sweet tea in my soul. But then I gotta be like, whoa there, partner. My wife's black, back off faster than a preacher at a strip club. Then immediately text my girl, babe, it's code red. I need affirmations of my wokeness. And it got me thinking, why is there this weirdness about black folks and swimming? My black friends tell me they just didn't grow up doing it. It feels a little like asking me to speak French. It ain't going to happen without a whole lot of awkward hand gestures and shame. It's like that whole white people can't dance thing. I gotta ask my Meyer to teach me. I got some tips. You know, gotta let the drums ditch your feet, hunch your spine, and loosen up. And for the love of gravy, don't look too feminine or gay. You gotta straddle that line like a politician at a nudist colony. I'm telling you, it's a minefield. I always get this primal shudder around women because I respect their power. They give birth. It's unreal. I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck 3 times. They say it's genetic, might also be a comedian thing. Lack of oxygen early on. Maybe that explains my jokes. People always ask what I am. Iranian? Turkish? I'm too scared to do a 23andMe. I don't know. Any more surprises? But if you're going to talk about facts around women, they will not like it. I'm just saying what I saw the other day. I'm just going off what I'm seeing. They're like, screw you, I'll kill you. Like I just kicked their dog. I'm onto something big here. This is gonna age like fine wine or a jar of moonshine hidden under the floorboards. Just you wait. 40 years from now, they'll be saying, damn, Theo, you were ahead of your time like a raccoon with a diamond ring and a master's degree in philosophy. Now, that's a story I'd pay to see. But, man, reminds me of my uncle Earl, God rest his soul, used to cut in line at the Piggly Wiggly something fierce, said he was testing their security, which was just his way of saying he didn't want to wait behind Mrs. Higgins and her 800 coupons anyways. I never really thought much about things I do. Like, I take my youngins to the Six Flags, the whole damn Six Flags. We're talking 30, 40 minutes tops. People look at me like I'm Moses dividing the Red Sea with a fanny pack full of hot dogs. But see, I call ahead, got a concierge, like I'm freaking the queen or something, and this fella just walks us right up to the front of every ride, I'm telling you. Done it for years. And I gotta tell my kids, look here, this ain't charity, this ain't some kind of Willy Wonka golden ticket situation. This is earned. Your old man worked harder than a one-legged cat in a sandbox to get us to the front of these here lines. But there's rules. See, stricter than my grandma's Baptist potluck, rule number 1. And this is paramount. We're strolling past these folks who've been waiting longer than a possum in a pear tree. You do not, and I repeat, do not make eye contact with these heathens. You hear me? Look straight ahead, like you're riding a Clydesdale towards the gates of heaven. Don't glance left, don't glance right, because these folks, they're going to unleash the hounds of hell with their words. They're going to say, I look like I smell a wet dog and regret. They're going to say things about you that'll make you want to join the Amish. But you ignore it. You just let that negativity roll off you like water off a duck's back, because here's the truth, son. When we're back in the Yukon headed home, we ain't never going to see these poor souls again. They're going to be stuck in that line, hotter than a jalapeno in July. Probably still arguing about whether the guy with the Mickey Mouse ears cut him off, and honestly, they're probably going to be in a line for the rest of their lives. Ain't that something? Just a line, folks, just a line.
All right, hold on now. Let me tell y'all something. So, I was back home in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake after Mama Sue sits on it, which, bless her heart, ain't nobody wanted to see. And my buddy Earl, bless his heart too, kind of simple fella. Earl's got this bucket list, right? Now, most folks, they got traveling the world, skydiving, maybe learning to play the dang harp on their list. Earl wants to learn how to belly dance. Belly dance. I swear I almost spit out my sweet tea. Told him, Earl, you look like a busted refrigerator trying to wiggle, but you go on with your bad self. But it got me thinking about meeting Obama. You know, Bo, as I called him, real, in the White House. Like I told my wife, girl, this my De Niro moment. You better recognize, and how I did my Denzel impression. Chomp chomp. Training day. Nobody clapped. I swear it was racist. Anyways, it was just such a small thing, belly dancing dreams and presidential handshakes, all mixed up like grits and gravy. But the other day, it really pissed me off when I saw Cube talking about how I walk. You know, he just stays angry because his top lip never moves. Reminds me of my Uncle Ray. That dude looks like he hasn't had a decent haircut in 5 years. But you know what made me think this is the same Nicole Kidman where she couldn't even clap? She just had boomerangs for hands right there. The point is, folks are so dang worried about these big, grand bucket list items, the things they think are important, that they forget about the little things, like just getting out there, running along the beach like I like to do, but then somebody threw shit at me, literally. But no matter what, folks are so worried about feet. You just got to realize you can't take steps in life without them. And that reminds me, I got some gala ladies coming over to get their feet blessed. It's all connected, see? Belly dancing, the president, bad haircuts, feet. It's all just a bunch of crazy life stuff, and that's just how I feel, like a possum playing dead on a hot asphalt road, hoping nobody mistakes you for a speed bump. Man, let me tell you something. I get riled up faster than a hound dog chasing a possum up a sycamore tree. It ain't even funny. Like, tiny stuff sets me off. And I ain't talking about global warming or nothing political. Nah, I'm talking about straight up primal disgust. You ever see somebody eating and sweating at the same dang time? I'm talking like barbecue ribs, back porch 98 degrees, just dripping and chomping. I want to throat punch them. I swear to biscuits. Slow down, Earl. Ain't nobody gonna snatch that half-eaten rib out of your greasy mitt. What's the fire? But all right, that ain't even the main vein of my irritation. No, sir, it's deeper than that. Recently, I've come to this realization, and y'all might not like it,
But I ain't sugarcoating nothing for nobody. I ain't got no patience for folks who ain't blessed with the looks. I said it. It's out there. Hang with me now. Don't go throwing tomatoes just yet. See, it ain't about being shallow. It's about the neediness, the constant excuse me, where's the bathroom? Can you help me with this? Like, I want to treat them like stray cats. Get out of here. Go on, scram. It's just too much, too damn much. Let me paint the picture so you don't think I'm just some backwoods monster. I'm at the bank, right? Normal Tuesday, pulling out of the parking lot. Gotta stop at that little booth, give the fella my ticket. So this dude, bless his heart, slides open the glass, leans out, and this fella could curdle milk with his gaze. But when he sees me, TheoVon, he just lights up like a Christmas tree, practically drooling all over his ugly mug, all up in my face like Kevin Hart running the drive-through. And he's, I ain't letting you out of here till you tell me why you chose us, why you bank with the us. I'm thinking, bro, I got crawfish to boil. I ain't got time for your existential crisis. But he's serious, dead serious, staring right through me. So I say, fine, customer service, loan rate free check in there, happy now? And this is where I almost lost it. He goes, that's all you had to say with your little ugly ass. I said, did you just call me ugly? And he hits the button and I'm gone, fuming. I'm at Chipotle 2 blocks down, lines wrapped around the building, all because of this troll booth encounter. So I'm standing there ready to explode. And this woman behind me says, all sunshine and rainbows. Oh, it's such a beautiful day. I'm about to lose my damn mind, turn around and unload the whole clip. But then I see her. This woman could launch 1,000 ships. I mean, straight up goddess. And suddenly I got all the time in the world. I'm Miss Rogers. You know what? It is a nice day. We need some rain though. Haven't had rain in a minute. And she just turns around and says, I wasn't even talking to you. Oh, hell no. Excuse me. I just gotta know what made you choose Chipotle today. Silent. Then she says, I'm not telling you that, immediately making me realize I was the unattractive person in that conversation. And I know y'all probably ain't gonna like hearing this, but I'm telling you, no matter how good you think you look, you probably don't look that good. And the universe will remind you, like my wife, we were watching TV. That little golem monster from Lord of the Rings comes on all twitchy and weird, and she says, oh my god, babe, you do that? I said, bitch, what did you just say to me? Calling me a monster to my face? Is this how you treat people in this house? So I get it now. We're all just Smeagol trying to find his precious, even the beautiful ones, and probably especially the ones who work the bank booth.
Shoot, let me tell y'all something. This private school my youngins go to, it's got me feeling like a scarecrow in a cornfield of egos. Standing there thinking, dang, do they even know I used to sell out comedy shows faster than sweet tea at a Klan rally? I ain't bragging, I'm just being honest. Like that time I found a 2-headed squirrel in my backyard. Weird, but true. Anyway, I'm as humble as a hound dog in a mud puddle, but even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes. And these folks gotta act like I'm just another John Deere tractor in the parking lot. So picture this, I'm dropping off little Kevin Jr., and the teachers swarm my Escalade. Like flies on a honey wagon, right? Mrs. Henderson, bless her heart, comes tapping on the window, all smiles, like a possum eating a persimmon. Mr. Hart, she chirps, the annual school fair is coming up, and we were hoping you'd consider being our greeter. Now I waited, I gave her the old, are you smoking, cracking your tea stare, but she just blinked back like a newborn calf. Greeter? Me? Kevin sold out stadiums? Hart? I ain't hating on greeters, mind you. They're the unsung heroes of retail, like that Walmart fella that once greeted me so hard I thought I'd accidentally wandered into a gospel revival. Dude slid into my field of vision like he was butter on a hot biscuit, yelled, welcome to Walmart, you here to get you some stuff, and then proceeded to moonwalk away, leaving me questioning the very fabric of reality. I bought extra stuff just to show him some respect and practically broke my neck trying to get him to bless my receipt with his highlighter. True story, ask my Aunt Shirley, she was there. But that's Walmart, folks, where dreams are made of questionable processed foods and inspirational moonwalks. This is a fancy pants private school, the kind where they serve organic kale smoothies at the Bake Bafe. I was selling out arenas plastered on billboards bigger than my Uncle Ray's double wide, and they want me to say howdy, folks, next to a petting zoo. No, sir. They got Alfonso Ribeiro's kids there. Let Carlton do his little dance at the entrance. Terry Crews is jacked. Give him a megaphone and let him flex his way into intoning people. Or Pep straight up yell, welcome to the fun fair. It's like asking Dolly Parton to clean out your gutters. Sure, she's probably got a heart of gold, but there's folks fair suited for the job, you know? I'm like a champion bull rider being asked to herd chickens. Somebody ain't quite thinking right. Then growing up in Louisiana, you see some things. Like remember old Clem used to wrestle gators down by the bayou, claimed he could whisper sweet nothings to him, but I swear I saw him bribe him with day-old donuts. Anyways, it reminds me of this time. See, I'm feeling myself, right? Thought I was all that in a bag of Zapp's potato chips. So this dude, he puts his hands on my face like he knows me, and I'm like, hold on, partner, we ain't that close, you hear? But then I see at the stance the crazy eyes like a possum cornered in a Walmart parking lot. I'm thinking, Kev, you're about to get socked. Better throw that haymaker, so bam, right in the kisser. Never punched a man in the face before. Felt like winning the lottery and losing your teeth all at once, so I'm hyped, celebrating like I just won a crawfish eating contest. All, yeah, bitch, you don't want none of this. Feeling like a real OG, you know, but then reality hits you like a catfish to the face. Jail time, one bed, one blanket. Suddenly you're offering bedtime stories, but then he tackles me mid-speech like a linebacker going after a toddler. I'm thinking, bro, I'm tiny. I got a low center of gravity like a bowling pin. I ain't going down easy, so I start uppercutting him, giving him the old Louisiana shuffle. He's losing, starts yelling for Thomas, his security guard, and Wayne, my security. This big old fella got Thomas pinned against the wall. Looked like he was trying to teach him the electric slide. I couldn't tell if Wayne was helping me or just enjoying a good squeeze. Didn't ask, didn't want to know. So then it hits me, Dallas, Texas. Getting arrested here is like ending up in a Nickelback concert. Ain't getting out till Tuesday. Gotta get out of here. Nate, my driver, bless his heart, he was OG. All right, gets the car, puts it on the curb, blocking everything. Never seen him so hyped like he's directing a bank robbery, telling people to stuff my head down so the cops don't see. That's when I realized Nate probably used to be a hitman or something. Then he snaps at me saying, Kevin, you got a career, movies, TV, you're throwing it all away for a street fight like I just bought a fidget spinner at a pawn shop. Then he's back to yelling about cops. We gotta go, but it's too late. We get locked up right there, Cleveland. I love y'all. Good night. And that's how I ended up sharing a cell with a dude who thought he was a heater on